the big news out of Washington, D.C. We've got Gregg Jarrett also joining him, Ned Ryun and Robert Bianchi. Gentlemen, slam dunk on the Russia part.
Right.
I understand what Gregg is saying with respect to Flynn and his interpretation, but we do have a special counsel there, and they did have another private session.
Right.
What do you think? Does the ball move forward at all, or is this all just still a media? Is it more about the media and hype than reality?
I'm going to argue it's more about hype, and there's not much there. I mean, this is the day that the Russian collusion died. The fairy tale came to an end. People realized, and you could see this, the shift in the media where they're going, you know what, this Russian collusion thing is dying out. We're going to go towards obstruction. But as Gregg said, I think they've got very thin case for obstruction. So I think that's the next fairy tale that's going to die. No, I think Trump feels very vindicated. He feels completely vindicated by this, especially in regards, obviously, to the Russian investigation. I think two of the biggest things that came out today, one, if you want to talk collusion and obstruction of justice, Comey and Loretta Lynch on the Hillary Clinton case and manipulating what it was going to actually be called, and Comey giving in to pressure from Lynch. The other thing that came out that was, of course, a big piece of news, James Comey was the leaker. Of course, he shot it off one of his friends, but he was the leaker to the press of these memos. So those were two of the biggest things that I think came out today. But the whole narrative has completely shifted now from collusion to obstruction. I don't think that lasts very long. The thing that's interesting to me about all of this is I think at the end of the day, you're starting to see the facade fall away of what we're really talking about. The left, the Democrats, the mainstream media, this has everything to do with trying to nullify the 2016 election.
Delegitimize it, no matter what.
Delegitimize it.
Even if you run out the string, the longer it stays in the media, the more it may go to that. Robert,
exactly.
your legal opinion on this?
Yeah, I don't see that. Listen, as a prosecutor myself, I have an intimate desire to make sure that what you see here today in this hearing was oil and water. It was the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. James Comey is a traditionalist. He believes in black box investigations, that once you come through the political process and you get in, then you do your investigations unthwarted by any political entity. Donald Trump isn't that guy. But it doesn't mean, based on the testimony that we heard today, that him asking, I hope you can see it in your way, or more importantly, can you at least get out there that I am not personally under investigation, is anywhere near a case a prosecutor would take to obstruction of justice. It doesn't get anywhere near closer. What it really said to me, I got to be honest with you, overall, is that the poor guy, as a person, I represent criminal defendants. They would love to be able to have law enforcement agencies say that you're not under investigation. And it could be for that very reason he got so frustrated and so angry, amongst many other things, that he, the boss, made a decision. You're gone.
Yeah, Gregg, I mean, he was very emotional up there, and he brought up his mom a couple of times, and it does beg the question, at what point did this become personal? Because he began his testimony calling the President of the United States a liar. It's saying he was a known liar, even though that was their first meeting.
Well, I wrote a column yesterday that predicted he was going to trash the president like yesterday's garbage. And he did precisely that. He even accused the president of defamation, and Comey knows better. He's a lawyer. The president was expressing his opinion. Opinion is protected speech under the First Amendment. It's therefore not defamation. So it was a sleazy charge to make against the president, but you kind of understand it. He's an angry, disgruntled employee who got fired, so he's lashing out at the guy who fired him.
You know, I got just one point on that. I don't see it that way, respectfully, Gregg, and I very much respect your opinion. I thought Comey was very straightforward. He's protecting traditions that he believes that were attacked with the FBI. He stated himself that he did not find the statements to be something that was obstruction.
Today he came out being a phony. He said, I hate leaks, and then guess what? Oh, I identified myself as the leaker.
Again,
if I was the American voter and taxpayer, I would be so upset right now. The mainstream media foisting a false narrative on them that is driven to a special counsel that they got to pay for.
We got to go, guys. But again, starting that whole thing out by calling the President of the United States a liar really seemed to set the stage in the wrong way.